Hey travelers, we're here. It's post-merge. The merge happened this morning. I was up until around 6 a.m. dealing with it. We'll talk what happened, profitability and stuff in a minute. But first we'll get a little synopsis of what happened. So I switched all my rigs over to Ergo. And now I mentioned it wasn't really a preferred coin, but that was the one that seemed to have taken off, and it had massively better profitability, at least for a while. So my rigs are currently still running Ergo. I wasn't really prepared for it, so these aren't tuned that well. You can see I just copied the memory speeds over from ETH, so I'm getting rejects and stuff like that, but temps are pretty good. Power is the same as it was before because I just have the clocks cranked on these guys. Hash rates are fine, 1.42 gigahash on one of these 12-way A2000 rigs. Not tuned that well. I'm sure I could get more out of it and less power, but similar power to what they were running on ETH, slightly higher actually on these A2000s, but again, not optimized. And the hash rates aren't too bad. On the 3070s, they actually look a little better. I'll switch over to this rig over here, show you that. Again, not super well tuned, just kind of like hammered in settings, but 150, 160 mega hash per card, 1.27 for the rig. Now, on to the issues. What happened? Initially, the profitability was actually exceptional on Ergo, and it seemed too good to be true. And it was. The difficulty shot up pretty fast, and profitability still wasn't really that bad. But just more recently, the difficulty shot up again, and now profitability is horrific on Ergo. So you can see the network hash rate here. Massive difference. You see huge spikes. It's going up and down. Clearly right now what happened is there's just too many people on the network, and most of them probably are not profitable, so a lot of them will disappear. It's just a matter of time. So right now we're seeing massive volatility. A huge amount of people went on the Ergo because they thought it was the front runner, but Ergo collapsed. Raven coin didn't really go up that much, but profitability wasn't that exceptional. Flux, really not a huge lot of a rise on that one either. And now, if you look at what to mine, Flux is a front runner. Although you can see here, this probably means that a lot of people are starting to flock to it. But still, not horrific ROI, not horrific profitability, but not very good. About what I expected. But I didn't expect how bad Ergo collapsed. Ergo took a huge brunt of the miners, and it just, it didn't handle it that well. And Neox, not a lot of change. But pretty much everything was like that. They had a reasonable spike, but yeah, Ergo just really, it went up a lot. We're here at 30s, 20s theta hash, and we peaked at, if I could get a number here, I don't know, over 300, right? So more or less 10 times, over 10 times the hash rate in a few days. So obviously that's a major issue. And now, as a result, Ergo is way at the bottom of this list. This is for a single 3070. Scroll down, there's Ergo. This is with my electric rate. Barely profitable. 18 cents a day, gross 3 cents after electric. So yeah, horrible. But there are coins that are profitable. It's just the trouble is switching to them, different algorithms, different tuning, a lot of times different miners, because miners aren't compatible with every algorithm. So it's a lot of difficulty to switch between coins, especially if you have mixed rigs. Those are a real project. If all your cards are the same, not so bad, but it gets messy when you start dealing with AMD and various models and stuff like that. So for me, my original plan was to get on a coin that's making something and just run it, and then try to set up a way to auto switch between different algorithms based on current profitabilities, because I expected a lot of issues, volatility, fluctuations, but it's sort of both better and worse than I expected in different ways. The volatility isn't as significant as I expected, but Ergo crashed way harder than I expected. And curiously, people didn't flock to a lot of these other coins like I expected. I would have expected Flux Raven, Neox, and maybe Conflux would have got more traffic, but they didn't get that much compared to Ergo. Ergo, for some reason, took all of it, and I guess it was the right combination. They looked like they had good profitability, but the network difficulty reacted slowly, and as a result, the profitability was too high for too long. A lot of people flocked to it, and now a lot of people are just running, hoping that something changes, something comes back, other miners drop off before they do. But yeah, clearly where we are right now, this is massively unsustainable for Ergo. And with time, it'll fix itself, but hard to say where it's going to go, hard to say what's going to happen. I mean, of course, it's very likely a huge amount of the hash rate that's currently on the network is going to have to disappear. Unless we see a huge recovery in the value of a lot of these smaller coins, which isn't super likely right now due to the economy and all that's recent inflation numbers and stuff like that, the issues we're facing. Unless something like that happens where these cryptos get valued massively higher, the profitability just isn't going to be there for a lot of people. And if you have average or above average electric prices, there's just no hope of you being profitable, unfortunately. So maybe things will change in time, but yeah, it's messy out there right now. There's not a lot of coins that are very profitable, and it's certainly nowhere near justifiable to be buying hardware for these kinds of profitabilities. You plug in a regular number, like even if this were to be sustained at 22 cents a day, this is at, my electric rate's actually cheaper than that, but it's at 5 cents a kilowatt hour, which for most people is very, very cheap, and it's doubling electric on a 3070, which is pretty efficient. So yeah, if you're running 3080s, 3090, 3090 Ti, 3080 Ti, it's going to be tough to be profitable unless you happen to be profitable on a coin that also happens to work well with your card. And well, you don't get a lot of say in the matter, right? It's up to, I guess, the crypto gods, if you were to call it that. Depends on how people feel about the coin and all these sorts of things. But the merge happened. It happened seemingly successfully, and no glaring faults from what I'm hearing. Everything seems to be going smoothly. However, nothing changed. So right now, Ethereum isn't really going anywhere. It had a bit of a dip because people kind of went meh. They weren't too enthusiastic about the merge. Nothing changed. Nothing happened. It's true. Yeah, it just pissed off the miners. So with time, maybe the merge will fulfill the things it seeks to do, but currently gas prices aren't lower. I mean, I guess the network is a bit more stable, but it didn't really have a meaningful impact to most users right now. So until we see the point where Ethereum is actually a viable means for transactional currency, or the gas prices drop considerably and the ability of the network to actually conduct transactions increases, yeah, I don't really see Ethereum shooting up. Maybe we'll get some positive news, maybe we'll get some legislation, maybe we'll get some better numbers with inflation or the economy, but unfortunately just the market wind right now. People don't want to have risk assets like crypto. They'd rather have fiat currency, and it makes sense, it's reasonable, it's not an unreasonable position to be in. But yeah, could be a year, could be 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, who knows, could never recover, could recover tomorrow. So unfortunately, that's where we are right now, and I think we're going to be there for a while. I hope enough of you out there are able to still remain profitable. I'm set up pretty well so I can be slightly profitable through most situations. I have cheap electricity, I have efficient rigs, and the noise and the cooling isn't an issue, and of course cold weather's coming. So I'll take some of the rigs inside to the house, and I'll use them to provide supplemental heating, but right now I don't need any, so not a big concern there. But either way, I don't know, let me know how you feel, what you thought about the merge, what situations you ran into you didn't expect, what coin you're mining, what you think and stuff like that, because I find it interesting. It's nice to have a little community, I guess, so to speak, talking over these things and seeing how other people are feeling about it. But for me, I still plan on being around. I still want to mine even if it's barely profitable, and I think I'm positioned still to be slightly profitable, but making like $5 or $10 a day is pretty depressing. Although, yeah, I would rather run the hardware than just have it sitting idle, as long as it is still profitable. And I do have cheap electricity, so it's doable, but we'll see. I'll keep you up to date. Until next time, stay hashing.